going on? It's Jeremy with Simple Disc Golf, back for episode 2 of Build-A-Bag. First things first, I want to give a big shout out to Doomsday Discs. They've actually gone ahead and offered to sponsor this. So at the end of this series, we're going to be giving away anywhere, it should be 4 discs. Where I'm sent straight to your door. You just have to be subscribed to the channel. And yeah, so we're on hole 17. Just want to say shout out to that. Actually, I'm going to fling this to laptop. We're going to record this in post, but I'm going to show you the tee sign, ideal landing zones, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So we're on hole 17 now. And let's go over the discs based on the landing zones. So off the tee here, you have a left to right pushing shot. So you really have 2 to 3 choices here. And you don't need to go that far straight before it needs to start turning based on where the tee pad is. So on the tee sign, it looks like it's just pretty straight and you just need a slow turning right. But unfortunately, in real life, it's always a little bit different than on the tee pad sign. So our first choice is going to be the same that we did last time, but instead of having the proxy, we have the Doomsday Rot this time, which I forgot I had. This is actually a limited edition one in isolation. Unfortunately, they don't have isolations in stock, so you will not be getting an isolation one unless they happen to come back in stock. But you may get a base Rot just because that way you can also putt with it. But you have that on Anheuser, and that's not a shot I'm comfortable with. It would be a good shot here, especially with this disc, but it's just not a skill I have, especially to get up to the very good spot up by the rock. Your next option up in speed is going to be the Despair, which is understable. This is a survival Despair. They do make in other plastics, but survival seems to be a little less stable. And this is generally, will turn right, and it will kind of get flat at the end if you don't have that high of a arm speed. So it's kind of perfect for this hole. Moving up from there, the problem with the Despair is I don't have the distance. I don't have the distance on the Despair to get it up to the rock, the perfect landing zone for birdies on this. But this is pretty good if you're just going for par. This is going to put you in play in a decent spot. And then up from there, we have the Blackout from Doomsday. This does come in a multitude of different plastics. This happens to be a fatal one. This is going to be an 8-speed. So with this, if I throw it correctly, I can get this all the way up to the perfect birdie spot, but your chances of getting to the birdie spot, because this is a driver, if you don't get this turned enough, instead it's gonna go out of bounds on you, especially because it has a tendency to have some late stability to it. Now that's all for backhands, but of course, since it moves left to right, you always have an opportunity to throw a forehand. Now, my forehands are not the best. This is a Lockdown from Doomsday. This is actually in ration plastic, so I'm trying to beat it in to get some flip. It was pretty stable to begin with. But on this hole, if you're trying to throw a forehand, you have to throw a hyzer forehand that turns up and pushes on hyzer for a bit. And also that one that isn't going to skip really far right, because far right, there's a lot of trouble on that side of the fairway. So what we're going to do is I'm going to throw all these discs. And for the Rot, I will re-record until I manage to get an Anheuser through the gap that flies decently, just to give it a chance. Because for some of you guys who throw Anheuser a lot, I want to give it a fighting chance. And then we'll go and we'll look at all the landing zones and we'll see where we're at, and we'll assess which one actually hit the right area that we're looking for, as well as talking about replicatable shots. So let me get this turned around and then we'll go and get that thrown. First up is the Rot on Anheuser. Right, that got really lucky. That was on the inside. Despair, throwing pretty flat. Oh, and that's looking great. Now we have the blackout. There we go. All right, we did hit a little stick there, but it's pretty good. Finally, we've got the lockdown. Here's a better look at where all the discs are. I'm going to walk just to each of them so you can see. And we'll take the camera with us. But our first disc is going to be the lockdown over here. So I'm not the best forehander, and if you are better, you're going to land in a better spot than this. But the lockdown's right here in front of us. You're going to need to throw straight up through all those gaps right there. So not ideal, but if you're a forehand guy, this wouldn't be the worst spot to be in just because you have another forehand that's just kind of straight, but you're going to need to be good at forehands. Let's move on to the other three. So the other three discs, I don't know if you can see the blackout. I have the blackout right there, the rot right here, and the despair right here. Now, this is kind of a decent landing space to be in right here, or a little bit. This is really kind of ideal. Anything in this corridor here, from where this blackout is, where the despair is like the good spot to land in. By that rock up there, on the left, that really big one right there on the left, in front of that is the best spot to be, just because you don't have any trees in your way. What I will say, and obviously, you know, power of magic here, I'm not good at Anheuser throwing putters, so the putter's out. Regardless of how good of a position this is, arguably this rot is in the best position because there's no trees in the way or anything, but that's just kind of luck of the draw. Getting the rot here took me like 5 tries. I repeatedly hit a tree off the tee. It's just not my specialty, not my thing. With the blackout here, this blackout does have turn, but like I said earlier, it does have some late stability. So because of that, a lot of times I was ending up out of bounds. So unfortunately, the blackout's also going to be out for this because you don't want to be out of bounds. Worst case scenario, you at least want to be in bounds. So that way you can make forward progress on your next shot without taking a penalty. So that leaves us with the the despair. Dystopia is their driver. Now, the despair here, unfortunately, did land right up against the tree. So that's not ideal. But this zone that it's in, and with how close it is to the rock there, I think I could probably get it to the golden landing position just based on that. So we're going to go ahead and play out the hole with the despair here. And then we'll talk about it up at the basket. Now, ideally from here, if it's if I'm playing in a tournament here, I'm not going to throw a backhand straight at the basket up there. I'd probably throw a forehand to the second landing zone and just take par here because this is a very, very difficult hole. For the sake of the video, I am going to throw backhand, but I'm also going to move it slightly away from the tree just because I don't want to smack my hand into a tree, which is the same reason why I would throw a forehand. Now we are going to be throwing I guess I can get right up next to the tree, actually. This isn't a big deal. We are going to be throwing another backhand. You could go straight at it or out to the left if you trusted this turnover. I guess I trust it to not. I don't know if I trust it to turn over just based on the footing position I have here. No run up or anything. I'm gonna go straight here, and if it fades, that's fine. If it turns, that's fine. We should be close enough for par either way. And that was a bad throw by me, but yep, like I said, faded to the left, and we're gonna have like a 150-footer approach here for par. So our final throw does have some trees in the way. That other shot, the footing just wasn't great. There wasn't much I could do about that. My forehand's not great. Usually I throw really, really overstable forehands. We're going to go forehand here because I think that that's the right move because we're not that far. I'm probably going to throw it as a flex, and we'll see what happens. We just have to make our putt, and we'll be good. All right, well, I hit the tree. Oh, the roll away. And I hit the tree directly in front of me. That's okay. That's not the tree's fault, though. So regardless of what happens here, we did make up a stroke, even if I missed this putt. And with the Despair, I also made that gap in that shot first try. Now, the Despair is normally what I would throw here anyways, so I kind of knew that was going to happen. Let's see if we can par. This is kind of a longer putt, and I did not warm up at all today, which also could have factored into how many misses I had off the tee today. But let's see what we got here. Close. That's a 5, though. That's still a 1-stroke improvement over our first playthrough with just the putter. Alright, so what does all this mean? Well, the rod's out. I don't do... Well, the rod is in because it's my throwing putter anyways. But we definitely need an upgrade because I think the reason why we took that 6 was because of the rod. Now, forehands, I'm not good at them, so we're going to take the lockdown out. I can throw a good approach forehand about 200 feet with something really, really overstable, but pushing hyzer and it has to go up, there's just too many chances that I'm going to give it nose up and that's going to fade right early, which is where all the trouble is, which I really don't want. So our two choices really come down to the Despair and the Blackout. Now, the Despair to me is going to be less likely to go out of bounds. It doesn't go as far and it holds its turn better. So the odds of it just going straight OB are really low. The Blackout, on the other hand, is probably more likely to make that golden spot because it has a little more distance, but also probably less likely because it's more likely to go OB. So I think for that, we're going to be going with the Despair. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I said in the intro, Doomsday Discs is sponsoring this video now, so so one lucky subscriber is going to be getting every disc that I pick out for this Build-A-Bag series for free sent to them. You must be subscribed. I am going to randomly roll a subscriber. I will message you through YouTube and get that hooked up for you. Anyways, let's get this bonus throw of the Despair here so you guys can really see how it flies. Hopefully I keep it in the middle here. This is going to need a little bit of hyzer to stop it from flipping all the way over, but we shall see. Almost fell off the tee pad. Well, I did fall off the tee pad, but that was a great throw. Anyways, you guys have a great weekend.